a mistake to assume that burning X number of calories in a workout
means you can take
means
that
you've done
back
more,
in.
because you would have just naturally burned probably 2/3 of that anyway, just sitting down.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard for a lot of people to get confused that you just naturally burn calories, and all that extra physical activity that you do is great for your heart. It's great for your bone density. It's great for your circulation system. It's great for all of these.
But it's not really for weight loss.
But it's not lifting weights is great for building muscle.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily great for weight loss.
The fork is the best way to lose weight. That's the weight you want to do.
Abs are made in the kitchen. I always like that one.
And the other thing to keep in mind is it's hard to see changes on yourself because you see yourself every day.
Right.
So if you want to see changes, take pictures of yourself every day and then go back and review them. Because think of it like a paper towel roll. If you take off one paper towel from a full roll, it doesn't look very different, but you've changed it. You take off 3 or 4. When you get down to a third of the the paper towel roll, if you take off a towel, it looks significantly smaller. So when you're losing weight, when you're big, you're not going to see significant changes. But once you start losing weight and you get down, the same amount of weight that you lost when you were bigger will look bigger, like more weight is lost.
My poor Instagram and Facebook feed, and you guys see this all the time, is practically my progress pics, right?
Yeah,
I'm like, this is what I look like right now. This is what I look like right now. And I took some this morning, and I'm looking at them like trying to scrutinize, like, do I look different now than I did 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? And it's often hard to kind of compare. And for people taking progress pics, it's about lighting. It's about,
you have to have everything the same for every picture.
The lighting change, you know, is it a bright light? Am I in sunlight? Am I in shadow? Am I... You know, did I have a lot of sodium last night, so I might be kind of not flushed out as much as I need to be? So
yeah, JJ, we make sure to take JJ's picture at the same place and the same lighting at the same time.
Yeah,
and then she wears the same clothes, so we can. There always we can tell.
I've discovered that I look really good in fluorescent lighting when it's beating down on me, because you can see every divot and groove.
Yeah, Richard likes to come over every morning and take a picture.
Have you taken one today?
I have not, but have you seen their bathroom? It is great for selfies.
Is it really?
It is. But you know what? I'm going to go do that now. Thank you, Sean. I'm going to go do that a little bit. I'm going to spam you guys with me shirtless in Sean's bathroom shortly.
Maybe from now on, I just need to take selfies in there for no other. I'm not going to take my shirt off. I'm not doing that, but I'll just take a selfie in his bathroom to keep on, and we'll hashtag Sean's bathroom.
There you go.
So
this is a very informative, not really very exciting.
Okay, then
in between.
We've got about 12 minutes left in our typical in between. Pop culture. We've already touched on
Jupiter's Legacy.
Are you guys watching Hacks on HBO with Gene Smart?
I've heard it's good. I haven't had a chance to get to it yet.
Well, I have a question for you.
What's that?
Don't
Are you
spoil
caught
anything.
up?
Yes.
Are you caught up?
Yes.
Okay. Is it only supposed to be one season, because they're wrapping so much shit up?
It's only, I think it's 9 or 10 episodes.
Right. I think it's supposed to be another season, but
I don't know.
Everything is moving in a direction that feels like everything's supposed to end.
This is a one-season story?
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know.
I have no idea where they can go there.
Well, I mean,
where they can go.
It just depends on what happens in the next couple episodes.
I'll get to it. I haven't had a chance to watch that yet.
I
heard it was good.
It's really enjoyable, and it just kind of Gene Smart should be in everything. It's kind of
She's surprising to me how amazing she is.
It's kind of what's. I don't want to necessarily compare her to Betty White, but she's somebody whose career has come back continually to be relevant to modern audiences,
right.
As opposed to kind of fade off into oblivion. And so that's what I really enjoy about this longevity of who she is, doing sitcoms and moving.
Who would have thought a woman from Designing Women would be on a Watchmen adaptation?
Well, what's kind of hard about that is, but comparing the two shows, Golden Girls and Designing Women, and this kind of stuff, we've had people from the cast die.
Yeah.
Right? That we're not going to get to see do more things. And so this longevity is even more pronounced by the fact that they've lost members of their original cast. And she's not necessarily old.
No.
She's just older. So it's just kind of fascinating to see this progress. And I absolutely...
Well, Betty White is old.
Yeah, but she's also got multiple instances of her coming back, right? Her original career as a comedian and all that kind of stuff, and then moving into the Mary Tyler Moore stuff to be popular, right. And then coming back again for Golden Girls, and then coming back again for
Ryan Reynolds and all that kind of stuff.
I think with Gene Smart, what I find fascinating is my only exposure to her originally was Designing Women. And in that, I'm not saying she plays somebody that's stupid, but she's a little bit of the, very much
simple.
Plays in her, yeah.
She's the breath of fresh air amongst the women, and you have to have that when you have multiple people playing comedy. But then she comes back in all these things, and she was in a season of Fargo, right? Yes, she was.
Yeah.
and she's like terrifying, and I'm like, I don't want to say that I typecast her, but the truth was that's what I saw, and I didn't understand the depth of her
and
abilities.
She's playing very, very diverse roles right now too, and the stuff that she's coming back in. Like, I don't know, it's phenomenal to see her.
I never thought that I would get excited to see her in things, but the moment that she's there, I'm like, yep, I'll watch it.
I'm a fan. Yeah,
I like it a lot.
You'll like Hacks a lot.
Yeah, you will.
The new thing on Netflix with the kid with antlers.
Sweet Tooth.
Okay, so I don't even have to ask if the two of you read the comic it's based upon.
Believe it or not, I have not read that one.
There's a
compendium coming out.
There's a Sweet Tooth compendium coming out this week that if you would like to read the entire series, you can. And he came back for a second series called
Is that in there as well?
No, it's not. It's the main series itself. So
I have to stop and say we can't do this podcast anymore. There's a moment of pop culture
there's things
that Sean
I haven't
has
read,
not ingested.
I will say this. I think that Sean and Todd would love a lot of Jeff Lemire's works.
Oh, I have a lot of his stuff. I just haven't read that.
Let's see. Royal City. He has Gideon Falls. He did Plutona. He did a very small run on X-Men and some superhero books. He does Black Hammer. What he writes about is middle age.
Okay.
And he writes about kind of the I'm going to say dysfunction, but that's the wrong word. Dystopian's the wrong word. I guess there's a dis in there somewhere. Dissatisfaction. He writes about middle-aged dissatisfaction, right? So Royal City was, I'm going to get some of the plot wrong because it's been a minute, was about a son who was a writer who had one-hit book but couldn't turn in the new manuscript because he just was at a writing point of being unable to continue writing. He just couldn't mental block, writer block. Comes back to a small town where he tried to escape from. In there is his mom and his dad. There is a deceased brother that died when they were younger. There is the sister who is a real estate agent in town whose husband is manages the factory. There's a drug brother that's just a complete and total waste who lost a job at the factory. So you can see how this kind of sets up this dynamic. And then there's this strange thing that happens where he's getting the deceased brother's messages through the radio.
Okay.
Right. So, but it's all about that kind of just dysfunction that happens. So what I liked about the first episode of Sweet Tooth, because I've only seen the one episode so far, is it goes from the perspective of Gus, the boy, and it seems to be creating a hero's journey for Gus. Okay. What's hard about the graphic novel series is that it's very sad. It is just a very, very sad series, and Gus is constantly put in turmoil and distress. And it is not a happy read because almost none of Jeff Lemire, I hope he's not listening, almost none of Jeff Lemire's books are happy. And
I would think he would know that.
What's interesting is now that we actually have a 10-year-old boy cast in this role, I'm eager to see where it goes because I think that they're going to make it not necessarily happy, but they're never going to take it to the dark place that Jeff naturally does in his works because it actually you can't do that with a 10-year-old boy in live action.
You're going to go down the path of what was that Viggo Mortensen, The Road.
Yeah,
if you want to go that
worse and worse and worse.
Have you ever seen that film?
I mean,
there is no winning.
It might. I've only watched one episode, but I feel like they've kind of moved it a little further along to make it not happy. Not that Gus isn't going to go through trials,
right?
But they're not going to take the audience to too dark of a place because of it, which was my opposite problem of Lock and Key, where they wouldn't take the kids to a dark place, even though it's a bloody, brutal graphic novel series. They almost tamed it so much that it lost all of its bite, and that's why we're probably not seeing any more Lock and Key.
I found that concept interesting, and I never watched it because I think that I'm pretty sure, and if I remember correctly, we were recording at Zeus, which, if you don't know, ZeusComics.com, Zeus Comics in Dallas. That is Richard's comic book store, the best one around here.
Yes.
Stop by, treat yourself to it. We were talking, and you brought up, I think, Sean's, and I know he does this, both of us. Are you watching this? And I remember saying to Sean, I didn't really know what it was, and you came back at that point, and I think you were the one that said don't, and I was like, what? And you were like, yeah, it doesn't nail what it needs to nail.
And we brought up Lock and Key when we were talking about the Miller Millerverse just this week.
Oh, yeah,
we talked about at the beginning about what happened with Mark Miller stuff. And
is that a Mark Miller?
No.
Okay,
it's
Joe
Hill.
Yeah, Stephen King's son.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that.
So the book series, the book series, even though it has kids, in it is brutal. I mean, it's brutal. There's a lot of violence that happens in it. There's heads being split with axes and
heads being split with skulls.
Heads being split with axes and things like that. It's very bloody. And in the show, I guess because it actually has live action kids, they tamed it so much that it loses its bite. And I kind of feel the opposite about Sweet Tooth. I know how dark Sweet Tooth gets because it's just Lemire writes very sad things. Mm-hmm. And this actually gave me a glimmer of hope, and that made me want to watch more.
This is executive produced by Robert Downey Jr. and his wife. Yeah. And I know they fell in love with it, and they're the ones that championed it and brought it out there. So I know I'll jump on it. There was something... Shit. It's on Apple TV that I was going to mention. Oh, hell... I hate that whenever you have something.
The Snoopy animated show is really good.
Is it? My wife is a huge Snoopy fan. And I keep telling her
it is so charming.
Is it?
Chris and I watch like entire episode and watch more, and it's not for adults per se. They don't try and make it one of those shows because it's Snoopy. Mm-hmm. It's just charming. Oh, it's adorable.
She stayed away from it because I think that she is way old school fan of this stuff, and she's like usually the newer stuff kind of tends to be schmaltzy when they don't get the sweet humor of it, but this does.
This does. You will have it's peppered in with all the kids, but it follows a little bit more Snoopy, and it's just they did a really good job of pulling the tone from the shows in while creating something that was funny and enjoyable. Okay. I recommend it.
I'll tell her to go watch it. Well, I can't think of what it was I was going to talk about.
You should watch it with her because it's actually really cool.
She may not let me because she's still never forgiven me that we went to see the Peanuts film, and it was cute. But for whatever reason, I think I had a gig the night before. I fell asleep in the movie. And she still to this day, you fell asleep there. I'm like, shit, so I fell asleep. But maybe I'll try to get her to watch it.
She'd enjoy it.
Anybody got anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right. We'll be back next week. 5 more minutes of battle. Everybody have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.